Hello everybody, Chocolate Guy here, and welcome back to my list of the top 5 worst and best SpongeBob Season 4 episodes. In this video, I'll be discussing my number 1 best and worst episode choices. If you haven't seen the previous parts of this list, I suggest you do so first, as they're all a setup to this video, and I give my thoughts on the rest of the season in those videos. And with all that said, let's finally finish this list. Look, I know nowadays it's kind of a meme to rip on this episode, because people have over-exaggerated its problems, and there are memes around that. Okay, one big meme. I don't want to put this episode on the list for that reason, but I can't deny it is one of the worst episodes. It's just the episode this season I enjoy watching the least. This episode is pretty much everything wrong with both Squidward and The Thing, with none of the redeeming qualities. And say what you want about Wigstruck and all that glitters, at least those episodes are distinctively bad, which make them more interesting in some way. This episode is the worst of all worlds though. It's just this slow episode of Squidward trying to have a relaxing day, while SpongeBob and Patrick are annoying. That's it. It's not like they want to do an activity with him, like jellyfishing. They just want him to join their stupid club, which is far less endearing. And look, this episode is annoying because there are no real jokes other than SpongeBob and Patrick annoying Squidward, and they are told in the most generic and repetitive ways possible. The only other jokes they tell are bad for completely different reasons, though we will get there in a little bit. But this brings me to a point I have to make. While I find this episode annoying more than anything, like other bad Squidward episodes, it's really boring. But what makes this one especially terrible is that there is no interesting hook or angle. I hate Squidward and The Thing, but at least Squidward tries to tell a ton of jokes around this puppet, which is a quote-unquote creative idea for the episode, which at least makes it kinda distinct. And even though The Thing is a ripoff of jellyfishing, that's at least still more of a distinctive factor to make the episode stand out than this episode has. There's nothing here to make it stand out, and this just leads to the same kind of joke over and over again in the least creative way possible, which is so much worse for the fact that the jokes they're telling are just so abysmal and boring. There's just nothing to enjoy here. And this is so much worse because at least I can walk away from those other Squidward episodes remembering more because the jokes are somehow more creative. Even if you don't find SpongeBob and Patrick being annoying to Squidward on his day off, annoying yourself, what is there to get out of this? There's just no reason to watch this episode. I know comedy is subjective, but I'll ask, what's better about this episode than any episode in the first 3 seasons where SpongeBob and Patrick are annoying Squidward? Not only are they better written, but they're actually funny. Hell, as I've been saying, what's better about this episode than the other 2 Squidward episodes that are similar to this in this season? This episode just has all their fat with none of the flavor, even if it is a very tiny amount for both those episodes. And look, this episode does really annoy me, and as someone who likes a lot of alone time, it does get on my nerves, especially how Squidward is treated here for no good reason. And just how inconsiderate SpongeBob and Patrick are, and because the writing is so terrible, that's really all I can see it as, and this does annoy me more than anything from the other 4 episodes in this season, but I'd be lying if I said that's what pushed it to be number 1. or that it was anything other than how uncreative and uninspired this episode was. It's truly a nothing of an episode that loses any substance of creativity it would have ever had because so many other Squidward episodes exist. That's why it's number one, because there's no episode that gives me less joy and I get less out of watching than this one from this season. And look, everyone knows the ending is dumb and the jokes around it are stupid for completely different reasons. I'm not going to talk about that because I have nothing interesting to add. There's no point. But yeah, this is easily the worst of season 4 because it tries to do nothing original and succeeds at just that. So here we are. The best episode of season 4 is its first. What makes Fear of a Krabby Patty so great is that it has a lot of the strengths that make episodes prior to season 4 so fantastic, but also has a very unique style all its own, while also using some of season 4 elements in its best way possible. It's super detached from anything else of the show in terms of pacing, how it goes about jokes, and even its art style, and I love it. This is one of the most different and interesting episodes of the show, and all this gives the episode such a distinctive feeling and tone. But setting all that aside for a second, the story is just really simple and funny. Even though the episode puts a bit more focus on it, and it's a little more complicated than some other SpongeBob stories, which is what season 4 likes to do, it is still pretty simple, but it's used to tell so many great jokes, and the story works here unlike in other season 4 episodes because of how many jokes there are, and this is shown off through Plankton's scheme, which is a bit more complex and well thought out than usual, which leads to an interesting series of events and parts of the episode that are very different from each other while still fitting in this story, but there's so many jokes around all of it. And that's an additional point I want to add. Because this episode is so content-filled and different, it feels much more complete and like a bigger experience watching than any other episode around this time. I enjoyed myself front to back, but remember every scene and joke because of how creative and funny and distinct they are. And I love every minute of watching the story play out because of how much happens and how many small to big gags they get out of it and how much I was laughing the entire time. The setup is fantastic. SpongeBob slowly going insane, and the montage is super memorable and distinct while having a ton of memorable jokes. Then you have the stuff with Dr. Peter Langton and trying to dive into SpongeBob's mind to get the formula, but everything he does just fails miserably, and it kills me every time because of the execution of these jokes and how well they're paced, but especially when they dive into his mind. And we get this strange scene of SpongeBob making friends with this giant Krabby Patty, and it's just so bizarre, but has me dying every time. And how Plankton's plan fails because he somehow succeeds at doing what a normal therapist is supposed to do. I think I've made my point, that this is just such a distinct episode that is so creative, but is also one of the funniest of season 4. It's the one I enjoy watching the most, which is why it beats out every other impressive contender. Is this episode as good as some of the best episodes of the first 3 seasons? Honestly, no, because while this one is really funny and uses a lot of the best elements of the first 3 seasons and some of the 4th, it's not quite as interesting or as funny as some of those seasons' best, seasons 1 through 3. But this was a different time for the show, and the fact that this episode is as good as it is in a season with not a lot of really good or great episodes means that I respect it so much, and it's all the more impressive for at least being in the same ballpark, which is more than I could ever ask for. Fear of a Krabby Patty is truly a trip and the best episode of SpongeBob Season 4. And with all that said, the list is finally done. Thank you guys for watching and supporting this new list format. I think this turned out really well, and I'm excited to do more lists like this in the future. But as usual, if you enjoyed this video and the others in this series, please leave a like and subscribe for more videos similar to this in the future. Also, comment down below on what you thought of the episodes in this video, along with what your own list would be. Commenting and engaging with the channel helps spread it around, so any comment would be very appreciated. Also, links to other videos on this channel, along with other parts in the series, and the music I used in this video will be in the description below. This new format of making lists was a success, and I think it's a fun way to do this type of content, so I'm gonna keep making videos like this in the future. And on that note, lastly, I have an announcement. I'm gonna post a lot more over the summer and try to make this a true cartoon review channel. This is what I love to do, and I hope to one day make it a full-time job. So you'll be seeing many new uploads coming soon. There is so much I want to talk about in the world of animated television, but I've been making videos very casually, and I've only talked about a few shows so far. Well, that's gonna change starting this summer, because this summer I'm gonna not only try to upload more videos, but finish nearly all the series I've started on my channel, besides SpongeBob videos, since that show is still running. So, coming out of the summer, I can make videos on shows I've never talked about before. And while this channel will be about cartoons, mostly and primarily, and I'm gonna rebrand it as such, because that's what I'm most interested in talking about, I may even post some extra content just for fun. So, with that said, in the next list series video, we will be returning to The Simpsons after too long, with the best of Season 7 lists, which I plan to start releasing videos for July 1st. Then, that will be followed up with the best of Season 8 list, and then a list of the worst episodes from Seasons 3 through 8. And a best list of all the first 8 seasons, closing my videos on Classic Simpsons. I also will release an actual 2-year anniversary video of the first video to be released on my channel, but that will be revealed later. Next, I will finish my Courage series and post videos on Seasons 3 and 4, along with a video on what the best episode of the entire show is. After that, I'll finally be releasing a video on the worst episodes of Hey Arnold Seasons 1 through 3, and a video on the worst and best episodes of Seasons 4, and then a video on 5, along with a video on the best episodes of the entire show. Then I will release a best episodes list for Avatar Season 3, along with a list of the best episodes of Avatar overall. SpongeBob is a show that I will keep talking about, but I'm gonna put those videos on the back burner for now, and post them more occasionally, and put more focus on other projects that I'm more interested in making currently. I have big plans over the summer, and from here on out, I'm hoping to release one video at least a week, most likely more, starting in July. I'm gonna rebrand this channel into a channel about cartoons, new and old, renaming it Chocolate Guy the Cartoon Reviewer, because that's what I love to talk about and want to talk about as many animated shows as I can. Once again, hoping to make this a job. So, that's what I'm gonna try and do. But with all that said, thank you all for supporting me this far, and I hope you stick around for so much more to come. And with that, this is Chocolate Guy, the Cartoon Reviewer, signing off.